When our last marrow-freezing episode reached its nearly unbearable climax, our two principals, Rocky and Bullwinkle, were hurtling purposefully toward what they thought was Washington, D.C.
Now, let's see, Rock. What were we going to do in Washington?
Gosh, Bullwinkle, you forgot already? We're going to file for statehood for Moosylvania.
Oh, that's right. That way Moosylvania can set an example for Texas.
But what Bullwinkle and Rocky didn't know was that they were streaming straight for Butte, Montana, which had been cleverly disguised as our nation's capital by no one else than Boris Badenov and his femme fatality, Natasha.
Wait till Moose and Squirrel see authentic, artificial, simulated fake capital.
But, darling, why you do this?
If Moosylvania becomes a real state in real Washington, we lose chance for distribution rights for evil.
Is clear, Boris, precious monster, but why you put Frankenstein on top of Capitol Dome?
And while Boris erected the sham Washington, D.C. as a part of a truly sinister scheme, the citizens of Butte, Montana scarcely took notice.
Hey, Merle, some nut come a-running in here and asked me if I'd wear the Supreme Court robe.
I know, Selwyn. I used to just want to hit you in the mouth. Now I want to impeach you.
The nerve of that feller, Mother, bending our antenna like that. Now Channel 4 don't get nothing but the presidential press conferences.
Don't move, Dad. He told me I was the new curator of the Smithsonian, and now I'm putting you on display with that old typewriter.
At that identical moment, Rocky and Bullwinkle were nearing their mistaken destination.
Gee, Bullwinkle, our nation's capital off there in the distance. Doesn't it give you a special feeling?
Yeah, Rock. Almost like the feeling I got first time I saw Butte, Montana.
Yeah, just look at that gold dome.
Funny, I thought Frankenstein was green.
And as Rocky and Bullwinkle pulled into the station, a familiar voice could be heard behind an impenetrable disguise.
Hey, Moose and Squirrel, give you a nice tour of capital.
That voice! Where have I heard that voice before?
In about 324 other episodes. But I don't know who it is either.
Pardon me, Mr. Guide, but we represent Moosylvania, and we'd like you to take us where we can file for statehood.
How about in here, Rock?
Bullwinkle, that's the wrong building. That's the Bureau of Weights and Measures.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's why I got this card with a picture of Peter Lawford on one side, along with 162 pounds and my fortune.
Here it is, U.S. Capitol. Here's where old Mooses and Squirrels files for statehood.
Thanks, mister.
Yeah, and thanks for tying this handkerchief around my eyes, too.
But barely a few yards away, a shadowy figure stood ready to perform an unbelievably treacherous act.
Now, Boris.
You ain't just whistling Dixie, kid. Now.
Hey, wait a minute. You're no guide. And that doesn't look like the Capitol building. Come on, Bullwinkle, let's get out of here.
But it was too late, for no matter how fast they ran, Rocky and Bullwinkle were in the direct path of the falling, phony Capitol.
Rock, you mean the Capitol isn't really made out of 1/4-inch beaver board with plastic clamps?
Run, Bullwinkle!
I thought you only ran in Washington every 4th year.
Run for your life, Bullwinkle!
Sounds like as good a reason as any, Rock.
Will our two speedy specimens escape certain squashing death by the giant 13,000-ton beaverboard Capitol replica? Watch out in our next nerve-spattering episode titled Bad Day at Flat Rocky or A Record in Bullwinkle's Blot.
How do you like your new playhouse, Junior?
Not so hot, Dad.
Why do you say that?
Well, take a look at it.
Oh, my gosh, it's burned to the ground. How did it happen?
Well, I was playing house, and I lit a fire in the fireplace.
There wasn't any fireplace in that playhouse, son.
I know.
Well, it serves you right. You know the old saying, he who plays with fire kindles disaster.
You got an old fable to go with that, too?
Not so old. I just made it up. It's called The Bears and the Dragon. Years and years ago, a large forest was ruled by a mighty king, Leo the 32nd.
What have we here? Oh, my loyal subjects have sent me 3 books for a birthday present.
They were How to Cook Lyonnaise Potatoes, Remember the Main, and The Story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
The first 2 I've read, but the third one has pictures.
Thus he pored through the book night after night until...
These nights are driving me crazy. I've got to have some myself.
And a royal proclamation was issued.
Hear ye, all ye who wish to become knights, better sign up today.
By the end of the week, every animal in the kingdom had donned a suit of armor.
I dub thee Sir Kerr.
King Leo and his knights took their places around the round table.
Whose deal is it?
But before they could break open a new pack of cards, a startling discovery was made.
We don't have any chips.
That wasn't what I meant, for one chair was conspicuously empty.
I'm in a daze. I've lost a knight.
Hear ye, one more knight is needed today.
These words fell upon the ears of 2 itinerant bears who, until now, had faced a rather grisly future.
Well, very interesting news, but I'm on my way to Yosemite.
Have a nice trip, Maxie, huh?
Well, aren't you coming with me?
No, I think I'll head up north. You know, the grunion or runyon.
Oh, well, take it easily.
Likewise.
Both of them were barefaced liars, for although they took a different route, they arrived at the king's castle at the same time.
Good night. There's only one vacancy.
So it was decided that the more courageous of the 2 would fill the spot.
Bear number 1, you slay the ogre that lives in the woods. Bear number 2, you rescue the fair maiden who is locked in the Black Tower. Whoever completes their task and returns to me first will be knighted.
And with that, both bears set off on their quests, and both bears ran into trouble.
Sorry, Buster, nobody gets into the woods today. The Elks are having a picnic.
Yeah, but I got to get into the woods, 'cause I'm supposed to slay the ogre.
But the fox wouldn't budge, so bear number 1 had to get into the woods by using strategy.
And a shovel.
There was nothing wrong with his ability to dig a tunnel, but there was with his sense of direction, for instead of coming up in the woods, he came up in the king's bathtub.
You'd better get going, or you'll never slay that ogre.
Sorry, Your Cleanliness.
Having failed to come up into the woods, he attempted to go down into the woods.
Geronimo!
His aim was faultless, which is more than can be said for his luck, for the wind caught the bumbershoot and... When next he appeared on the edge of the forest, he was wearing a clever disguise.
You're late, Elk. The picnic ended 2 hours ago.
Oh, you mean I can go into the woods now?
Of course. Anybody can.
Look out, ogre! Here I come!
Meanwhile, at the Black Tower, bear number 2 was also having his difficulties.
What are you talking? I'm the one that needs our help. Why didn't you tell me the drawbridge was up?
Oddly enough, by nightfall, both bears returned from their missions flushed with victory.
Bear number 2, did you rescue the fair maiden?
I certainly did, Your Grace. Ain't she cute?
Good heavens. Bear number 1, don't tell me you...
That's right, sire. I slew the ogre. Meanest one I ever saw. 5'2", eyes of blue, blonde hair.
The king would have taken drastic measures right then and there if it hadn't been for the untimely arrival of a fire-breathing dragon outside the castle wall.
Whoever slays the dragon, I shall knight immediately.
Both bears seized the opportunity and a bucket of what they thought was water.
I will put his fire out.
Oh, no, you won't. I will.
As it turned out, neither of them did, for the buckets were filled with gasoline, and one blast of the dragon's breath... That was the last that was ever seen of the 2 bears. And that's why, Junior, he who plays with fire kindles disaster.
Yeah, you could say that, Pop. But if it were me, I'd say one good burn deserves another.
Takes after his mother, that boy.
And now another treat for all you poetry lovers. Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello there, cat fanciers. Today's poem is that soul-stirring classic, I Love Little Pussy. Where's the pussycat, Rock?
Over there, but it's not really.
Poem. I love little pussy. Her coat is so warm. And if I don't hurt her, She'll doom me. No, Rock. This is a tiger.
I know. The pet store made a mistake.
So I'll not pull her tail or drive her away. But Pussy and I very gently will play.
Bullwinkle, what are you doing up here?
I'm looking from a poetry book.
Why look up here? You lost it down there.
Yeah, but up here the light's better.
It was springtime in the Rockies, the Canadian Rockies, that is, and all the marigolds were in bloom. People would come from miles around to see the marigolds. All the people except Dudley Do-Right. He was allergic to marigolds.
Salute. Gesundheit.
It's these marigolds. I can't stand them.
Allergic, eh? Well, that's too bad, Dudley. Too bad. You see this package, Homer?
Quick-growing marigolds. I didn't know you went into the horticulture, Snidely.
I don't. What I'm going to do is plant them on my suit.
Oh. Did you say plant them on your suit?
Yes, Homer. By morning, I'll have a full crop of marigolds.
On your suit?
That's right, Homer. A marigold Snidely suit. Now, hand me the peat moss.
I know I should never have got that subscription to Better Homes and Gardens.
What you don't understand is that Dudley Do-Right is allergic to marigolds. With this suit, I will be invincible.
And so the next day...
How do I look, Homer?
You look just like a float in a rose parade.
Meanwhile, at the mounting camp...
Dudley, will you walk with me? The marigolds are in bloom.
I'm sorry, Dell. I have something else to do.
Well...
How could I tell her that Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties is allergic to marigolds?
Good thing you're here, Do-Right. All the other Mounties are out looking at the marigolds. Snidely Whiplash is in town, boasting that he's not afraid of you, Dudley, and that he'll meet you any time you're ready.
What's that, Inspector? Why, I'll ride into town at once and bring him in.
Not ride, Dudley. Walk. Your horse is looking at the marigolds with nails.
So Dudley walked to town to bring Snidely in.
Snidely Whiplash, I arrest you in the name of...
There, what did I tell you? Dudley Do-Right is scared to death of me.
Listen, Dudley, everyone in town is saying you ran away from Snidely Whiplash, that you were scared to death. Well, I won't have it. Gives the Mounties a bad name. I want you to go right back into town and not come back till you bring him in. And that is an order.
So Dudley tried bandaging his nose, hoping in this way not to breathe the deadly fumes of the marigolds. And with his bandaged nose, Dudley didn't breathe in the fumes of the marigolds. Dudley couldn't breathe at all.
Air!
Dudley tried a gas mask, but that didn't work either.
Help! Help!
What is the matter, Dudley? Is it because I took your horse to see the marigolds?
Don't mention the word marigold to me, Nell. I'm allergic to them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are allergic.
But I'm not people, Nell. I'm a Mountie. And besides, Snidely Whiplash is wearing a marigold suit.
A marigold suit?
I can't get within 2 feet of him.
Well, who would want to?
But you don't understand. I've got to bring him in or the inspector won't let me back in the camp.
Listen, Dudley, I have a plan. I'll sneak over to Snidely's shack and plant some crabgrass on his marigold suit.
Do you think it'll work?
You know what crabgrass does to marigolds.
Did you water my suit, Homer?
I left the sprinklers on for 15 minutes like you said.
I did it, Dudley. I planted Snidely's suit with crabgrass.
The next morning, however, there was no crabgrass growing on Snidely's suit.
Go ahead, Dudley. Take him.
But now the marigolds are still there. There's no crabgrass at all.
Well, that's funny. I planted the crabgrass. I used fertilizer. Oops, I forgot to water it. But don't worry, I'll fix that.
Nell, my allergy is gone.
Well, now all you have to do is cut through the crabgrass and Snidely is yours.
I'm halfway through the crabgrass and I still haven't found Snidely.
Well, keep at it. He's bound to be in there someplace.
That was close, Homer.
Are you going to plant some more marigolds in your suit, Snidely?
No, Homer.
Snidely doesn't seem to be there at all, Nell.
Dudley, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think that's Snidely. Poor Snidely.
Inspector, I brought in Snidely Whiplash.
Where?
In that bag.
Dudley, that's not Snidely Whiplash. That's a bag full of crabgrass. And I'm very allergic to crabgrass.
But, Inspector...
Oh, come on, Dudley. He'd never believe us anyway.
In our last spleen-shaking episode, our two Moosylvania mentors had journeyed to what they thought was Washington, D.C., but which was actually just Butte, Montana, which had been sinisterly disguised by, you guessed it, Boris Badenov and Natasha.
Now, Boris Crowell, sweetie.
Now.
Faster, Bullwinkle, faster!
What? And get arrested for impersonating a jet?
Phew, Bullwinkle, it's okay. We can stop now.
Do we have to, Rock? I just love to hear the wind whistle through my antlers when I'm doing over 60.
Boris, baby, where did we fail?
And I always try so hard to do the wrong thing. Hey, who cares if Moose and Squirrel not squashed? It's impossible to file for statehood for Moosylvania in Butte, Montana anyway.
So true, my dearest twisted genius.
But was it true?
Look, behind where that artificial capital was. There's the Butte, Montana Lumber Company, and it's fallen too. What do you say to that, Bullwinkle?
What else, Rock? Timber!
And falling it was, right on Boris Badenov, who had no way of knowing that he had not disguised Butte, Montana as Washington, D.C. It was actually Washington, D.C. that had been rigged up to look like Butte, Montana by a clever pressure group in the pay of the Montana Muskmelon Trust.
Senator, here we decorated this here whole town to look like Butte, Montana, and still you're voting against our muskmelon bill?
Son, I even voted against Medicare, and they wrapped 54 million Band-Aids on the Washington Monument.
Well, anyway, it really was Washington, D.C. And at that very moment, Rocky and Bullwinkle were entering the Capitol building with their petition for statehood for Moosylvania.
This is it, Bullwinkle. Look, they even have a window marked Moosylvania.
Hey, Moose and Squirrel, Moosylvania is explosive issue. Better hurry. Window is closing in 1 minute in honor of Aaron Burr.
Hey, isn't he the one that shot Alexander Hamilton?
That's why the window is closing. I got to warn him to get out of town.
Well, then give him the petition, Bullwinkle.
Okay, Rock, but you better hold this for me.
Thank you, Moose and Squirrel. Now Moosylvania is never having statehood.
Bullwinkle, we gave them our petition and they were fake.
Oh, well, at least we still got this little gift that lobbyist from the pressure group gave me.
What pressure group?
I believe he said it was the New Mexico Dynamite and TNT Trust.
Golly, Bullwinkle, this isn't it. This is the petition.
Then you mean...
And once again, Bullwinkle's incredible stupidity had saved the day, for at that very minute, a blinding flash covered the entire metropolitan Washington, D.C. area and parts of Elko, Nevada as well.
Boris, if angle of trajectory is right, we orbit Earth every 7 minutes.
See, I was right. Moosylvania statehood was explosive issue.
Back at the Capitol building, two friendly hands met in congratulations for a momentous event, affecting 185 million Americans.
Well, that's it, Bullwinkle. It's filed.
You mean Moosylvania's gonna be a state now, Rock?
That all depends on how many good Americans get behind it, Bullwinkle.
But will Rocky and Bullwinkle be joined in support by people everywhere? Or will the same sinister forces that defeated the Snooky Lanson presidential boom be at work again? Perhaps we'll find out more in further adventures of Rocky Squirrel and Bullwinkle J. Moose.
And now for the cultural part of our program, we bring you Bullwinkle's Corner with that moose of letters, Bullwinkle.
Hello there. Today's poem is from Mother Moose.
Mother Goose.
Goose? Must be a misprint. Anyways, the poem is Little Miss Muffet. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet.
What's a tuffet?
Hmm?
What's a tuffet?
It's what I'm sitting on. Eating her curds and whey. Boy, this stuff is terrible. Along come a spider and... You were the spider?
He couldn't make it.
But you ain't scary. You're supposed to scare me.
Okay, fellas, up.
Take two. Along come a spider and sat down beside her and... A spider! Hey!
Hey, Miss Muffet, your curds and whey are on your head.
Let me tell you something. I'd rather wear them than eat them.